Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Higher Density Living. You're here with Jason Rigby and Alexander McKeag for an early morning session on
farming,
CIA PSYOPs and farming.
Yeah, CIA and farming.
Yeah, I will share something. I went out and bought myself Magic Mind. Okay, I was interested on its efficacy after they had sent us some. Right. So I started ripping the Magic Mind on an empty stomach. I had like a 3.5 hour float. No problem. Pure focus. And I'm usually hangry.
Yeah. So it was like in the morning. So no oatmeal, just Magic Mind.
Just Magic Mind. And
then you go to town on your emails.
Yeah. And I'm like, no placebo effect. It was legit.
So CEO of a tech company in flow, what is that worth?
For me to be that efficient, a good chunk.
And you can go to our website, magicmind/HDL. You can put the code HDL20 in.
Yeah.
And you get it's more than 20%. It's a huge discount.
50 something.
Yeah, it's something like that. I don't know.
I actually drink it every day now.
Do you?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I'm not lying. I like, this is not for them.
It tastes delicious.
I'm doing it for me.
Yeah. I just had the ones that they gave us.
Yeah. No,
They need to give us more.
Well, you drank them all.
Yeah.
So I went out and bought more.
Well, my girlfriend drank them too.
Well, she drank them too. Yeah. So I had to.
Even though I told her not to.
I had to test it myself. And yeah, it's legit.
It's too legit to quit.
It's too.
Well, I mean, it's like the mushrooms, all that. There's so much stuff in there.
Yeah.
Cordyceps.
I feel
cordyceps mushrooms are. We're going to learn that fungi is the.
Fungi just gets me, that word.
No, fungi is like the evolutionary missing link to us as humans in the way that we develop. I mean, our lungs look like mushrooms.
The way the mycelium networks.
Well, we have that in us.
Their structure. Yeah, no, it's just like.
People don't realize all the connectivity.
Dude, I'm like so sick and tired of everyone thinking everything's so separate.
I was listening. This is great. I was listening to a podcast this morning early at 5 o'clock.
You listen to podcasts before podcasting?
Yeah. It helps me. Yeah. I like it. I listen to podcasts 24/7.
Chill, bro.
You saw my Spotify.
I did. Yeah,
yeah, it's
chill,
like
bro.
60,000 hours or something in a year. But and this was so interesting. They were talking about, and we're going to get the spiritual side of things right now, and it's really, really good. I made notes. Let me get my notes out. They were talking about whether you want to talk about God, the universe, or whatever. However you want to use the word. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to use, he was using the word God. He said, my view of God is too small when I view the world as evil and it needs correction. Because if I am the Christ, then I'm always, and he was using, this wasn't spiritual, this was spiritual, not Christian, but then I'm in the kingdom and everything is perfect. If I'm not separate from something, then everything, and whether you want to say source, so we'll use source.
Yep.
When I'm in source and connected with source and I recognize that everything is source, then there is no evil. Because if there's separation, then there needs to be judgment and correction. You take separation out, there's no judgment. And he used a great example about a dream character.
Yeah, because when you judge, you immediately separate.
Yeah, you're immediately, yeah. But he was talking about like if you're laying on the couch and all of a sudden you're dreaming about getting chased by Godzilla.
Yeah.
He goes, the real Alexander McKeag is safe on a Wednesday night laying on his couch.
Yes.
The dream state, Alexander McKeag, is running from a monster.
Right.
So he goes, it's the same the minute that we recognize source and what we truly are in and of our higher self is the minute that we can escape this worldly, shouldn't use the word escape, but the minute that we can, punch our ejection seat and get that macro view of what we truly are. So, because like you look at Russia and Ukraine, what's going on right now, it's two nations viewing themselves as separate. But if you did a DNA study, they're the same.
It's all the same.
I mean, biologically, they're the same. It's the same. I mean, they're the same people and the same.
They're all related to Tutankhamun.
Yeah, and I'm not saying anything bad about them because the United States, how many nations have we came into and conquered?
Oh,
Yemen for the Saudis.
yeah, we are.
I mean, the list goes on how many countries we've gone into.
The U.S. is a mess. Do you know, it's
We blame Putin for what he did to the Ukraine, and we did it how many places?
yeah, exactly. Do you know, do you have any dreams about combat?
Oh, yeah.
I have them all the time. Like, it's a very pervasive. So 2 dreams that are pervasive for me. Hand-to-hand combat. I'm nasty at it in my dreams, right? And then the other one is I'm on usually some sort of special forces team. That's probably how I describe it, just being an American. And I'm like disarming a nuclear arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I can't disarm it. It's a horrible situation. And when I see the nuke explode in my dreams, it bums me out. I saw one nuke explode in New York City, and then another one it was coastal, but it blew up out towards the ocean a little bit more. Yeah, it's really unpleasant for me.
Yeah, that's wild. I did and this will be, this episode, so it would be like a couple episodes before this one. I did a HDL episode with a lady, and she's really cool. She's wrote 8 books on dreaming.
Yeah.
And she gets 2 million views to her website, a month. And she has like a dream interpretation and all this stuff. It's a really cool website. I mean, and a really cool podcast. But she was talking about, and this was so interesting, that the higher self and the subconscious state, what we get wrong with dreams that's so important is looking at symbolism, because higher self operates in symbolism more than we always want to remember the details when we should be looking at what are the symbols. Like if you have a monkey with a harp, and there's like, what's the monkey and the harp mean? You got to like look at it in that framework.
Yeah. So things that are symbolically odd,
I mean, obviously there's a symbolic, there's symbolism to the nuclear. There's symbolism to you helping, not helping the world. I mean, you can go through that whole process pretty easily on that dream.
No, it's weird. Like the recurring combat dreams are just like.
Yeah, I have those every week.
Do I look like I belong in combat?
Sometimes I'm a cop. Sometimes
You're a cop sometimes?
Sometimes I'm a cop. Yeah. I don't want people to turn off right now.
Yeah.
Since everybody hates police officers
Everybody hates
now.
cops. It's either I'm on like a special forces team or I'm a pilot.
Which today there was, literally at least 20 people pulled over. All of them, they were all out on the freeway. All the cops.
Why?
I thought I almost got pulled over because he was like doing his thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the school got let out. Washington State, they would do these things where once you were getting close to graduating from the academy, the State Patrol Academy.
Yeah.
Or State Patrol Academy. Then they would take all the students, put them in patrol cars, and then just have them go on freeways and just write tickets all day long.
Interesting.
It's a revenue system,
Yeah.
We won't get into that. But let's get into the CIA, UAPs, UFOs. They got all these different acronyms now.
Okay, what's a UAP? We know what the CIA is.
Yeah, we know what the CIA is.
CIA, the farm.
Aerial phenomenon. Yeah. Unidentified aerial phenomenon. UFOs were... Yeah, and then there's several other ones, like the drones are called something.
Well, they got their own.
An unidentified drone is called.
Do you know why they're classifying it like that now? Because that's how they classify their own shit.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that.
You can't just call them all UFOs. Like, well, no, they're different. Well, how would you know they're fucking different? You have one? Is there anything you want to share about this? Yeah, I love the word PSYOP. It's so cool. It's so catchy.
Well, I mean, there's training for that. The government does this.
No, I've seen some of the docs for PSYOP training.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty. We had it when I was in.
Do you want to speak about that? We were talking about PSYOPs. So you had trained. You were in what branch?
And that's what I have here. I have some PSYOP in the Marine Corps.
Thank you.
I was in the U.S. Marine Corps, and that's what I put here. So there's 5 things that with PSYOPs, because I'm leaning towards. My personal opinion, I'm leaning towards what's happening now with these congressional hearings and these whistleblowers, that this is a big government PSYOP. Yeah. That's what I'm leaning towards right now. I believe in aliens. intertransmissional, whatever you want to call them. I'm all in.
Yeah. I don't even believe I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, what's funny thing about the PSYOP, like the government's probably like, fuck yeah. The public as a whole is finally interested in this shit. Now we can just blame it on somebody else. And we can build this stuff in droves.
Well, that's the whole thing I was telling you about before the show is NSA, we have a security issue.
Yeah.
We need bigger military industrial complex and huge space race right now going for resources. Meteorites have lithium and gold and everything else on them. These other planets have more. There's so much out in space that they were talking about being able to run solar panels on satellites. Yeah, when you get past the atmosphere, you could literally like energize the whole world with energy.
So if you ditch past the ionosphere, the radiation's not blocked essentially by our electromagnetic waves, something like the Van Allen belts and shit, in our atmosphere. You get all that crazy scattering and stuff that occurs. So solar panels are way more efficient in space.
So you could literally beam down mass amounts of energy. So the whole world would have energy.
So their idea for beaming it, there's an Israeli company doing this right now. And I think I met a CEO from another one. They're using essentially the satellites as collecting mechanisms, collecting and transfer, and then they have receiving stations on Earth.
Yes.
And they do red light.
Yes.
I feel like mush right now.
It's not LiDAR.
But they're essentially beaming down the energy in long wavelengths to collector stations on Earth, right? And then from that, blah, blah, blah. I mean, yeah, you could do that. But the cool part about the asteroid mining is you're right. There's a lot of elements in great plethoras that are out there. We have a problem, though. Can I share it with you? And then we can get into these PSYOPs.
We'd love to take advantage of anything we get a hold of.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but there's an interesting aspect here to human evolution, okay, and the design of essentially our solar system. So we're, 93 million miles away from our sun. It's a fat distance, okay?
Yeah.
Great. Now, the furthest we have traveled with human beings, known to the public, is to the moon. Not that far away.
Right.
All right, we've launched it. Advanced trig, send this missile essentially up, right? It's a device that has to destroy something to create propulsion to go forward. We're going to send it over and then we're going to put people on here. And then from that, we're going to bring them back. Simple, okay? Heavily reliant on using natural phenomenon to pull our people back in, right? Use gravity, use those angles, all that other good stuff. Now, say for instance you want to go to Mars. Okay. We're going to have to require a little bit more scientific advancement in order to get there. In our propulsion systems, our ability to bring cargo across that distance. But then once you've traveled that distance, it also takes that long to get back. Okay? So we have a time issue. So that means the people that go there have to be of a consciousness evolution to be able to withstand such large time and distance issues, and also understand how to be in heavily isolated environments, totally foreign to themselves, but adapt to it. Okay? So it's going to take a scientist, essentially.
Somebody like me that can be introverted for months on end.
Right. So it takes a specific person of a consciousness evolution to be able to be in that environment.
Right.
Now, say we want to go to a bigger planet, even further away. The way these things are designed is that the higher your consciousness evolution gets, the advancement in your technology, in your ability to go further distances. So the relative distance and structure of creation, or our small universe, right, that we're in here, our galaxy, is that if I want to go to things that are further and further out, I have to be of a conscious level of development to get there, so that when I meet things or are faced with new challenges or go to experience new species or cultures that exist out there, I will be at a level that will be ready for it.
Oh, yeah,
and the technology will finally match.
Show.
And there's a reason why they're distanced so far apart.
Right.
It's structural design so that it's almost a measurement of your evolution. Your ability to travel extreme distances and meet new catalysts throughout this universe is directly correlated with the group doing the traveling and where they are in their stages of evolution themselves. So for human beings, we can only get to the moon.
Yes. Yeah.
What does that tell you about us? Little teeny little consciousness evolution, tiny, cricket-sized.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, that's my whole thing. So, say there's a small group of people that are like bad actors, and we happen to get our hands on some cool reverse engineered tech. And since the 50s, we've been building this stuff. We've had to keep it secret. It's exhausting and expensive to keep things secret.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we need to do? We need to prime and prime and prime, tease and tease and tease, drip, 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 drip information so that people, society builds up its own story and confusion.
Movies, all that stuff.
Right.
Fiction.
And so when it gets to a point where it becomes mass adopted confusion about a topic and huge delusional belief states, now we're in control of the narrative.
Yeah, people don't even realize the CIA created the hippie movement.
Right.
Because they even were having the records and everything. They had that base in Hollywood Hills, the propaganda base. And Jared Leto owns it now or whatever. But
He does?
Yeah, which is wild. He bought it.
He's so crazy.
I know, yeah. But they had this, and so that's where they started all the music and all that stuff. And the CIA was doing that, and they were creating these propaganda movies also with the nuclear bombs and all that.
Yep.
But it literally, the Doors, people don't realize his dad was the guy was the head dude to start Vietnam. You know, he went in with, he was the admiral that went in with Lyndon Johnson to be like, hey, let's create this fake war.
Yeah, we got
Vietnam.
We got a police effort over here.
And if you look at everybody, all the mamas and the papas, all these groups in that first started the hippie movement, they were all connection with government, CIA officials, military officials. So, and there's a whole book on this. But so the CIA and governments are really good at introducing things into pop culture.
Sure.
If you do not think that the 1950s UFO and E.T. the movie and all these things were not Star Wars and all this stuff was not influenced by the government, you are out of it. Like the government is going to infiltrate, and they have. We've known this. We see this. They infiltrated social media. That's all proven in the Twitter files.
No, they do it in social media. They do it in your basic news. They do it in everything. I mean, everybody's fucking phone is tapped all the time by the NSA.
Yeah, everybody has. Everybody has. You have a psyop working against you in so many different formats. China is doing it with TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Their TikTok's totally different than our TikTok. Their TikTok shows science, STEM, technology, all these fun things. It cuts off at a certain time at night for the children to have good role models. What do they promote for us? The worst of the worst, the dumb, the idiots.
We get all the good stuff.
Yeah, we get all. So it is a psyop. So just to go real quick, this will be a short episode, but I want people to understand what a psyop is. Number one, you have planning. Because we can go through this and then we can break this out.
You were taught this in the Marines?
Yes.
Okay, so this is fun.
So this would involve determining the goals of the operation. It could be distracting the public from other issues. This is a great thing to do if you're shooting billions and billions of dollars and funneling money to wars, which we've done before, and there's mass amounts of corruption, which is happening right now with Ukraine and Russia.
But why space?
Maybe
what's the object? Is it like you brought up asteroid mining? Is that it? Is it resources?
Well, there's resources. I think there was a checklist of like pros and cons, because this is how the government works. What's the pros of releasing this information? What's the cons of releasing this information? Well, the public's ready. Boom. We've psyoped this. Boom. We know we're having all these fighter pilots coming out saying that they're seeing things all around. So let's just omit the information. What will happen if we omit the information? Well, one, we can do a big space race. We can get people patriotic in the sense towards space. Elon Musk is pushing going to Mars. We can tag along with that. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's like, and then the corporations are like, well, we've mined Earth. We don't have enough resources to continue EV.
Can I ask you something then? So they know there's no future for that stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
there is in space.
What is that telling you?
Yeah.
about the economies of our future.
Well, they do this all the time.
It's so
They don't. We did this with buffalo.
it's so obvious.
There's no future. We just slaughtered.
Just slaughtered.
We're doing the same thing. We just do it in different ways. So, and then you test the public's response to the controversial information, and then you condition the populace for future narratives. So this is this is Marine Corps. So this
Condition the populace.
yes.
So I'm like just a piece of cattle that they've been working.
Yeah. We all are. I mean, and pretty much I would say every government kind of has this going on. You know, they were showing the other day in China the new, it's so silly, but it's so wild with their social credit system, and they have all these cameras everywhere. And now they're selling it to Indonesia and these other cities, these smart cities, but it's just a big surveillance scheme, but it's called Smart City. But in China, if you walk across the sidewalk when the light turns red, there's a big screen that puts your face up there and shows a red thing. And then you get like docked a point from, and if you get docked so much, you can't go to the movies. You can only go to the grocery store. It's a social credit score.
I'd be in like social credit score prison.
Well, that's where it goes. Yeah. There was a Black Mirror episode of this where the girl kept getting her likes docked and all that stuff. And everything was based off of if people liked you or not. And you had different levels of status in the world.
Oh, I'm already
based off
I'm
of
in the shitter then.
Yeah. So this future narrative is coming out. Number 2 is target audience analysis. The target audience for such a psyop would likely be the general public, especially groups, unfortunately, UFO enthusiasts, skeptics, and even foreign governments. If you're running, think about this. So if you're running high-speed drones that these pilots are seeing,
sure,
and you've reverse engineered and you've created these amazing drones that are that have cloaking technology and all that, wouldn't you rather blame it on UFO on something that's out there than say we actually make this?
100%. How many people think about it right now? How many people like getting sued? They're like, no, it's that guy's fault.
Yeah, exactly.
Why wouldn't the government all you got to do is point a finger and people turn their heads. If you it's the old thing, stand in a city street, point at the sky, people turn around and look up in the sky.
Oh yeah.
And nothing's there.
You can,
It's this like ridiculous groupthink. And then it becomes powerful when you pair that with group belief. Right? So
yes, that's what I'm saying. Now you piggyback off the belief.
So
you have UFO enthusiasts. It's right there. Yeah. These groups. So you find the group's beliefs, attitudes, and reactions. That's what they did. I mean, I don't like Trump and I don't like Biden. Let me make that very clear. But they purposely suppressed the information for Hunter Biden's laptop, that info right before the elections, because they knew, and the intelligence community was involved in this. The Twitter files came out with this. They told, and Mark Zuckerberg admitted on Joe Rogan, that the FBI told him not to release that information. The FBI was involved with Twitter files on that because they knew it would change the election and we would have had Trump as president. I think they're both bad. Like I always say, I'm for throwing the whole bird out. Fuck the left wing, fuck the right wing.
So can I ask you something then?
So that was involvement with the foreign agents.
So let me ask you something then. No, this is good. This brings up something inherently obvious. If these, say, people in the FBI, some form of secret service, and don't think just the president, but a secret service.
NSA, whoever. Yeah, there's so many acronyms.
They are the ones in power. They're just deciding at whim who they want to be the president. It's just like another larger part of their initiative, which tells me they're actually removed from the government.
They're removed. Yeah, 100%.
This is it clearly.
The shadow government is what.
Yeah, it clearly tells me that they are 100% removed.
They don't care who gets elected.
They could give a fuck. All they want to do is stir the pot.
They're just going to walk into the office, whoever he is. There's a great Senator Schumacher, whatever. I forgot his name.
Sick name.
Yeah, but he's like one of the most powerful Senate. They on MSNBC, liberal channel, they ask him, Rachel Maddow, she's super left. She asked him, she goes, hey, when Trump comes into office, this was 2016, you can see this on YouTube. When Trump comes into office, he's already tweeting and pissing off the intelligence community. What do you think about that? And this was off the cuff. She didn't even like tell him. This is what he said.
Yeah.
On air, and you can watch this on a video. He said this. He goes, There are 7 to 8 different ways the intelligence community can ruin you. You do not, as he said this on national television, you do not want to even poke the bear on the intelligence community. So when a senator on national television is telling you, I'm one of the most powerful senators, I've been in the Senate for 20 plus years, I won't touch the intelligence community.
So they live in a state of fear.
Yes, because they know
that's the higher authority.
Well, I mean, how easy would it be to put illegal pornography on your computer?
You can do it in 2 seconds.
Yeah, how easy would it be for them to? I mean, Pegasus system, they don't even need to send you a text and you click on it. Yeah. They can just go right into your phone now. Mm-hmm. I mean, they can ruin your career in 2 seconds.
Right.
I mean, that's what J. Edgar Hoover used to do.
They just keep you in a state of fear.
He's like, hey, this is proven. This is history. J. Edgar Hoover goes into, the guy that was in charge of the FBI, the crazy guy, Leonardo DiCaprio did a movie on him. He goes into the office with the brothers, the JFK and Robert Kennedys. And he goes, hey, I know you just got elected and stuff. I've been thing for it. He goes, I just want to let you know, Mr. President, here's some information that we got on you. I just wanted to share this with you. And it was all the women that he had slept with because he had a vagina problem.
They will take every vice and put it against you.
But he did it in like a nice way. Like, hey, he's like, we got this. We're going to keep this. We're going to make sure this doesn't come out.
That's so funny.
We're going to make sure this doesn't come out, Mr. President. And by the way, I would love to have another 4-year term.
That's so funny. No, but that's the thing. The higher authority does a couple things. They keep the people underneath them, which the public is tremendously focused on, in a state of fear.
Yes.
And then those groups keep people in a state of fear that are focusing on them. And then the higher authorities can then take their funding because they also manage banks. Mm-hmm. They're all tied in with it because that's where the resources come from. Shell some shit around, dump it over into some project, build some UAPs, trying to win their own little micro space race, keep shit quiet, and then start to blame it on aliens.
Yeah, and then all in the meantime, you're funding what happened a couple years ago, Space Force. Imagine that. Oh. We got a whole division of the military now.
There was...
so this is just the military industrial complex getting bigger.
Do you remember when the emails were released? Who's that Clinton guy? Off his BlackBerry.
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
It was on WikiLeaks. Anyway, I remember reading one of the emails. I was going through it. And they were talking about cargo getting shipped. Where was it getting shipped to? The moon. They were saying that, and they were saying, yeah, there's these cargo shipments of this new Space Force group, and this was back in like the early 2000s. And they're moving cargo up to one of the stations on the moon. It's right there.
I remember hearing something like this. Yeah. And it's
no one talks about it anymore.
It's like, what?
It's literally right there,
That's so crazy. Yeah, you think about it.
Why do the Clintons know about that, though?
Well, they know about everything.
Annoying.
So we not only do we have planning, target audience analysis, we have series development. This is very important. You'd mentioned this. This would involve crafting the narrative's trajectory. Notice trajectory, the word. Over the years, there has been a drip feed of UFO-related information from early sightings to classified projects like Project Blue Book to more recent declassifications, and we've covered all of that.
Yeah.
Each revelation could be seen as a piece of a larger, carefully orchestrated narrative.
So where did you see this in the Marines when you were doing your tours?
I think a lot of it was, especially when it comes to overseas with fighting fundamentalism in the Islamic area. And I'm not talking about Islam, regular Islam. I'm talking about the fundamental part of Islam. Yeah. So when you're dealing with fundamentalist groups, the whole idea of psychops is to find who's the weakest in the organizations. Is it the women? Or they want, and then who's the weakest and what do they value the most? Their children.
So then they use how can I get them?
Yeah, how can I say, hey, your husband's going to die in the next 2 weeks. Who's going to take care of the kids? Let us help you, but you help us get your husband. And that was done with you could see a lot of this, but you have to use leverage and people's self-interest.
Okay.
So, and that's just one, from, raining pamphlets down on them.
That's a classic.
In their language to allowing them to, paying people off with bribes to do certain things. Like, I'm not saying these people are that way at all. Some of these people are very credible military people, but it wouldn't surprise me if some of the whistleblowers have been paid off and given money
To whistleblow.
to whistleblow. Yeah. So why would they make that whistleblow and then that pass? And then now Congress is doing congressional hearings on UAPs and UFOs. Then they created this whole arrow, they're giving funding. It's like, where did the hiding all this shit go? Why is the government, and it's not Biden, he doesn't even know where he's at.
No, this is again, it's a separate group.
It's making me, I feel skeptical about all this.
Yeah.
About what they're doing, the government's doing. We know that there's, in different densities, there's millions of different species of aliens. Humanoid. I mean, how many species of humanoids was there?
Fuck a ton.
Yeah.
Do you know, it's funny, like imagine if you were just up observing us.
Mm-hmm.
Just all the time. You'd be like, what are these idiots doing?
Yeah.
Like just watching. You have no context. You're totally removed from our culture
You watch our reality
and
shows.
our society, and you're literally watching, you're like, what is actually
You read the social media.
Yeah, like what is actually fucking happening?
Like, really?
Yeah, they're like, wait, and then you're like, oh, these are their leaders, and they're like trying to confuse people. Like, what are you guys doing? It would look so trivial and dumb.
Well, I think Raw would sum it up. Everything is just service to self.
That's what it is. Yeah.
We're like third density service to self.
So there's a couple more steps on this. I know we're 31 minutes in. I don't give a shit.
So you got to get approval. Before any information on UPAs is released, it undergoes rigorous approval processes. So that's the recent congressional hearings, acknowledgement from government agencies. So then you get the formal endorsement of the narrative. And that's really important because if you can, so let me give you an example. So let's say you got some let's say you got some low-level women that are wives in a fundamentalist organization.
Sure.
So you want to get the whole ops is to get somebody higher up. If you get somebody higher up, then you have all the lower women. Because then you can frame them and say, hey, this person's helping us and she's a part of this. We need you to be a part of it. So then there's like this whole, you're providing endorsement of the narrative.
Yeah, and you don't want to be the outsider.
I mean, that's why we have branding and all that stuff.
Yeah, you don't want to be the outsider.
Yeah, you don't want to be, and if she's coming along with her kids, she's high up in the organization, then of course we're nobodies. Let's just join with her in the, and then.
Yeah, because her husband's the big boss,
Yeah, exactly. Yes, yeah. So that's the whole, you need buy-in. So when government agencies, congressional hearings, all of these things create mass amounts of buy-in.
I have a friend in the U.S. Air Force. Doesn't shoot guns. Didn't really do any crazy training, right? He's in the Air Force, doesn't know how to fly. He's in the Air Force, doesn't know how to fly. But his whole job, and he's a mathematician, is to analyze scenarios when new information is released or new information is received.
So isn't he an intelligence type or?
Yeah, in a sense. And they do statistical calculations on outcomes. They literally run outcome scenarios on new information, or if you were to run an op a certain way.
We used to do risk assessments.
Yeah.
On the new information and then decide how that changes the mission.
But they model it.
Yeah.
Like they'll open up a map and they'll model how people and the flows will work.
Yeah.
Like huge chains of cause and effect.
Cool. Yeah.
So say you had a ton of money and your math is a little bit more evolved than what you can find from professors at like UC Berkeley or Princeton or MIT. Because you learned your new math from somebody else who gave it to you from somewhere else, right? You're like, oh, well, we can pretty much just model anything that's going to occur. We have better computer systems, everything. So every piece of information that's given out has probably been planned on like a 40, 50-year timeline.
Oh, 100%. Because China said in their intelligence, they use a 100-year timeline.
See, this is what I mean.
So I think the
but
United
for us,
States.
we're like, oh, what's going to happen next year? Like, no.
We got a 4-year cycle.
Yeah, we got a 4-year cycle? No. There are people operating in half-century to century cycles.
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
I mean, let's talk about the Roman Catholic Church.
Oh, yeah.
They operate in 1,000-year cycles. They know exactly what they want to do.
Can somebody get me into the 8 miles of underground?
I would love that.
Library.
I would love that.
Is there a room I can stay in? Just wander around, leave me in there for a month.
Just give me a.
It'd take longer than a month.
Just give me a scarf.
Take like a year.
I need a scarf and a pillow.
Yeah, I'll do rosary beads. I'll do whatever.
I'll do whatever. I'll wear the stupid outfits.
I could pray to my higher self. Yeah.
Yeah. I just want the books.
I just want what's down there. It's 8 miles or 9 miles. It's proven. You can look it up.
Imagine collecting all that. That's your modern day Library Alexandria right there.
Well, I mean, just even if it's not alien UFO stuff, just the scientific stuff they've collected. You know, like Leonardo da Vinci's books, and then you know, like Isaac Newton's alchemy
alchemical books.
Yeah, I mean, all that stuff would be amazing.
No, that's the cool stuff. You know,
so number 6, I don't want to bore you guys. Production, distribution, dissemination through press conferences, official reports, media coverage. This UAP narrative becomes widely disseminated. So you have to get this information in a consistent drip, you know, and get it out there. Each release seems to build on the last, slowly construction. So you're not going to just come out and say, well, we've got these craft. Here's some pictures. Here's some alien bodies. You're going to have it go slowly. Like we may be in possession of some craft. We've heard these whistleblowers have seen a craft.
we recorded this a little bit ago.
Yeah. You're not going to. They're not. You got to do a slow construction.
Can I ask you something? You're an advanced civilization. You happen to be hanging out visibly where a military-industrial complex can survey you. Not a fucking chance. What is happening is you're filming videos of things that humans here have created. There's no way someone so advanced would be so imbecilic in showing or exposing themselves so open, especially in front of something that is armed arsenal.
Why would you give your 2-year-old a knife?
You wouldn't do it.
So why would they, in their highly evolved,
wouldn't do it?
I mean, obviously, like you were saying, if they can conquer that space-time, then they're highly evolved. And they're more highly evolved than we are.
They don't need, there's the things we film, like all these videos that have been released and Jeremy Corbell talking about stuff, all of that shit is all man-made.
Yeah, and he says the same thing. He's like, I don't know what it is. You know, it could be military UAPs.
It all is.
I do think there's something up with an alien base being in the water.
Why not?
Something's up with those, because I would believe like Commander Fravor and these people, they actually saw something. I don't think those whistleblowers are lying.
No.
You know, the military guys, I mean, they saw it. We have footage of it. Now, how that was released and all that stuff's kind of maybe this part of the psychops. But those things go in the water without a splash. Where are they going when they go into the water?
Well, they don't have a splash because they're not splashing. Think about the field, which these things have to emit. You can't just rip through space really quick.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay? Because you'd smash into shit really quick.
Yeah, you have to create your own. Yeah.
So you need to create something that has a field on it where things slip off.
Right.
You're not pushing. They're essentially...
That's what Daniel Fry was talking about with that craft.
Right. They glide off, right, at a small level. Think about... All right, here's a concept. When you're sitting in this chair, you're not actually sitting in the chair. There's a field. Very small one, 10 to the negative 7th in terms of its distance. So it's 2 fields, okay? Atomic fields pushing against one another. You feel the pressure. You're sitting here, but the repulsion allows you to stay up, but they don't touch. Now, say you advance that so much that you created that around your vessel. So wherever you move, things don't hit you. They just slip off of you. They slip off of this field. Well, that's how it would go into the water. See, splash, when you hit the ocean like that, there's a displacement of volume because there's a coefficient, there's drag on the edge of the material as it enters into the water. It happens for fish, happens for everything. But if you create a field that essentially slips things around it, no air pockets are created. There is no drag. There is no splash because the splash is going to occur through displacement and then that getting filled by the water on the back end, essentially the void.
But I mean, where'd be if you're an alien species and you don't want to be seen, where's the best place to be? In the water.
Yeah, in the water.
I mean, the oceans are so vast and so huge.
Yeah, everybody's watching up, but it's hard to watch down.
And that was another thing I said. It's like, why are we, and I told you this before the show, why are we building telescopes when we can't even man our own? air presence. Like everything around us, we're seeing, what are these UAPs? What are they? Is this national security? You know, have they been around forever? We just upgraded our radar? Probably so. Where are they coming from? Are they other governments? Is this ours? Are this the psychops? These are all the questions.
And by the way, anything you're saying is out of date.
Yeah, 100%.
Simple as that. Oh, like, whoa, like that's really far ahead. No, that's not far out. That's like 1940s, 50s tech.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the Roswell shit. It's crazy. So, in conclusion.
Yeah, tell me.
While it's intriguing to view the UAP disclosures through a lens of psychops, it's essential to approach this theory with, I think, a healthy dose of skepticism. I also think that the psychop process is a narrative that's shaped and deployed, and I do not trust any government. They seem to take things by force and have a self-interest model built into them. So it would not surprise me the more that they can make us like sheep with whatever it is. We just experienced something a couple years ago that was kind of like trying to make us like sheep. So it would not surprise me in the least bit to get us hooked more on Netflix, get us watching more sci-fi, get us being more dumb sheep.
Has the government ever said they were going to do something and then do it for you and it's been tremendously beneficial for your life? Have you ever voted for a president that made a promise and never actually followed through on it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So why are you just going to magically start listening to this? Why? Because it feeds your fucking belief delusion.
Yes, that's what it is. Yeah.
You need
You're
to be
biased.
so fucking skeptical.
Yes.
These people are in the government.
And we're not saying that there's, we're not saying that there's no, but I mean, like you said, a highly evolved interdimensional being is not going to present itself now.
Ever, visibly, especially not in front of a military force.
Not with our consciousness level.
No, not a chance.
You'll probably have your great grandkids, if we survive that long, will maybe see an alien.
Do you want to see an alien? You're looking right at one.
Yeah, look at us. We have it.
Yeah. You want to see what alien plants look like? Go walk outside. Go look at the flora and fauna.
This is all DNA from.
None of this stuff's from here. It's from everywhere. Figure it out. Look at the obvious. And with that, we'll see you later.